There we go. I had to restart that. Hello, hello, all. Hello. Just getting our comment in. Hello, guys. Thank you for filing in. If it will let me save my comment at the top. There we go. As many times as I do this, you think I'd be used to it. So, hello, people. I am just waiting for Miss Shaylin to come on in. Blue Run Golden Rye Batch 2, dropping in an hour. So we'll be talking a little bit about that, talking a little bit with Shaylin about how she got with Blue Run, how she got into whiskey in general. Just a little bit of general conversation. So if y'all have any questions regarding the drop, any questions for her, put them in the chat. I will... Thank you, Frank. Appreciate you noticing. But I'll be sure to pay attention to the comments and ask any questions you guys may have. So feel free to share them. I have not tried Batch 2 yet. I've been waiting until the actual release. So I'll be tasting for the first time while I talk to Shaylin. And I'm a rye girl, so I'm excited. And my little Blue Run glass. All the things. Hello, everybody. File on in. File on in. Let me see. Here we go. Oh, she did send a request. Sorry, Shaylin. Here we go. I hit accept. There we go.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I was wondering how much of the bottle was going to let me show once we got
yeah, I know. It does zoom in, doesn't it? Yeah.
It has its own little setup. So how you doing?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good. You at Bardstown right now?
I am. Yeah. Can you tell by the beautiful background?
Yeah. Ooh, nice. Are you in the tasting room?
I am in the conference room.
Oh, okay. Nice. Of course, they have bottles in the conference room.
Of course. Yeah.
What's on the agenda at Bardstown? Of course, don't tell me anything top secret, but
I'm blending. I'm blending today. It's actually the first time that I've blended since I've begun with Blue Run, so I'm really excited. I'm literally like doing my thing, you know. So yeah, so I'm doing that. Choosing out just finding all the finest pieces of our inventory and like putting them to the side. So it's an exciting day. Okay, and of course the launch. Yeah.
So that's a nice little segue into our introduction into you. So give us a tiny bit of background. How did you even get into whiskey in the first place? I know you're a whiskey director for Blue Run, of course.
Yeah.
But your career didn't start there. So can you give me just a little bit of info of how you even got into the spirits space in the first place?
Sure. So let's see. I went into college like undecided what I wanted to do, but I knew that I love food. I love flavors. I love everything about flavors. Like there's a whole science to flavor that most people, they don't know it exists. There's a whole world of flavors that are in our food. Like I'm talking like added flavors. There's that aspect, but there's also like what you experience in a glass
nature's
of
flavor. Yeah.
Nature's flavor. And it's all the same thing, just different versions of the same thing. And so anyway, I didn't even know that was a world that existed, but I had been engrossed in it my entire life because my entire family are super tasters. And when you grow up in that, you don't realize if you're a super taster, you don't realize you are if everyone else is the same, right? So
exactly.
So I found myself in a major called food science at the University of Kentucky and basically learned, I took everything from engineering classes, food chemistry, food microbiology, everything that you could possibly ever want to know about food. It's science related. So basically you either go two worlds when you graduate. A lot of people go like quality control, or you can kind of go research and development. And being that I do have this like artistic side, I wanted to go more of this R&D route. So I didn't start out in alcohol. I started out in baby food and MREs and
Oh, really?
shelf-stable food pouches. Yeah,
And
yeah.
baby food.
Yeah, and that's coming full circle because I now feed my son what I used to make, which is really
I
weird.
love
But
that. I love that.
yeah, and then had a wonderful opportunity to join Campari in 2014 for their North American, for doing all the development for North America. So I worked on
That's dope.
all spirit types, and it was an absolute, a second education because it was like you're working on a different spirit every day. You would go to Mexico and see how tequila's made and learn about that, but then you'd be working on vodka the next day. Like it was just, and of course I gravitated towards whiskey, being that I was in Kentucky and got to work on Russell's Reserve and Wild Turkey. And anyway, I got the wonderful opportunity to move over to Blue Run earlier this year, and I just couldn't turn it down, being that they're at a wonderful place as a startup that's kind of moved into that small company space and seen a lot of success. So
Yeah.
I'm the only female officially on the team. So yeah, it's been a whirlwind, but it's been amazing.
Wow. Wow. Only female on the team. How's that? I know that life all too well.
You gotta pump that estrogen in.
Yeah.
I get by. I mean, we're remote, but if we were together all day, that would be even more telling, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, that's great. They're all the guys are super great. They're all, you can tell they have like women in their lives because like they I feel like they're very, cognizant of the fact that I'm the only woman, and yeah, it's great.
You can tell they love their wives and daughters.
Yeah, absolutely. Their moms. Yeah.
Yeah. All the guys I've come across on the team so far have been great. So
good.
That's pretty cool. And I'm definitely used to navigating a room where there's only men. So
okay, so I
can relate.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite spirit then, since you've kind of done the gamut in terms of working with all of them? Do you have a favorite spirit? Like, what's your go-to if you're just drinking for leisure and not work?
It's a great question. I mean, I would say bourbon, just because I've been so immersed in that world. Each spirit, like when it comes to innovation for bourbon, it's oftentimes like blending. Tequila was a bit different. Their rules are a bit looser in Mexico. So you can kind of play with more. And then vodka, working on vodka was interesting because I was actually using natural flavors and building flavor profiles, which was super, a different world, like I said, but also extremely challenging, and I liked the challenge. So,
Did you work with gin at all?
You know what? Not much with gin, and I'm not a huge gin fan.
Okay.
I know. I wish I was, but
Love gin.
but yeah, a little bit. But are you a gin fan?
I am a gin fan. I love gin. I mean, good gin, obviously, but yeah, I love gin. My first love was pretty much bourbon. I'm also very much an agave girl. Tequila, mezcal, Sotol, Bacanora. I don't care. I love all of it. But I definitely love a good gin. It's all about the process for me. So I definitely care about how it's produced.
That's cool. Yeah. I'm sure you can teach me a thing or 10 about gin.
I'm absolutely happy to give you a whole gin tasting whenever you're in DC.
I will do that. Great.
You have my number now, so just hit me up. We got plenty for you. Okay, so you went from Campari to Blue Run, correct?
I did, yes.
Nice. Okay, and you've been at Blue Run how long? Has it even been a year yet?
No, just since February. So.
Just February, okay. Well, congrats on that, whiskey director.
Thank you.
So what does that entail exactly? Clearly blending, but like what else does that entail being the director?
Sure. Well, as you know, the team is an amazing, like one of the things that attracted me to Blue Run was the fact that everybody on the team came from various backgrounds, none of which were in alcohol. So I think with that, they brought like a creativity and a perspective that was like very fresh because they hadn't been just immersed in the world forever, So first and foremost, I'm coming on board, bringing like my technical knowledge, bringing all my knowledge about, working with alcohol, the TTB and, just everything there is to, I was very much involved in the quality world, even though I was on the food safety team. Like there's just so many things that like being here in Kentucky, where we're actually distilling and and bottling and everything, like it's important to be here and be present and like just be watching the process.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of like just stuff like inventory, making sure that we have enough barrels at the right proof to go into this product. And like I said, today I'm cherry picking kind of like the best of the best and putting those aside, deciding what I want to age longer, deciding what we're going to go ahead and bottle soon, and kind of coming up with that vision for the future. And I, of course, have some ideas that I'd like to pursue more long-term innovation.
Nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of long-term, because I think the first expressions we got from you all when you guys first came out was like a 13-year bourbon and a 14-year bourbon. Are y'all still working on some more longer ages like that?
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants stuff that's super
Everybody
aged.
wants it old.
You know, I mean, yes. But in the meantime, like realistically, as the whiskey director, I'm like, okay, we might not have the oldest liquid ever.
Yeah.
Of course, I want our stuff to age and get up there. But in the meantime, like what cool things can we do to like fill this space, right? And like Golden Rye being a great example, you know, something that did really well its first year, and I understand why. I think it's delicious liquid. Yeah. So yeah, looking for that old stuff though. Yeah.
That 13 and 14 year, I've kept each bottle because of course, I usually get to pull like one bottle, just about everything that comes in. So I still have both of those, maybe a pour or two out of them. Because when I really like something, I don't pour it.
Okay, you just have
Some
it
people
saved
kill their bottles. I'm the polar opposite, where I just hoard them until God knows when. I think I'm subconsciously saving for when my kids are finally 21.
You have like the slightest bit left. You have like an ounce of everyone left that you love. You have all
the thing about it is, I pour an ounce of everything that I love and put the rest away. It's a problem. I have way too much.
Were you a girl that saved your Barbies too? Like didn't open your Barbie boxes? Okay.
I saved my Barbies. I preserved them. Same for my Bratz dolls when I had that phase.
I love it.
I'm definitely that person. If I love it, I hoard it and protect it and put it on a shelf, and no one can play with it but me.
I respect that. Yeah.
So, question about the Golden Rye in general. Why Golden Rye? Is that the type of rye? Like what was do you know what the consciousness behind the choice for calling it golden was?
You know, I don't. My guess is that our amazing head of marketing, like Devin, who you know, works at Nike and is a creative genius. Like my guess is that was the wording that he chose. But I do think it's perfect. I'll say, coming on board, seeing this, tasting it, the release being in the middle of the summer, like it all feels very apropos. So yeah, I do think like, and it's probably a bit of a psychological thing, but when I drink it, I am like, oh, this is golden. This is honey. This is like, these are all the things that I would associate with golden as an adjective.
Is so accurate.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I get honey in terms of texture, almost like the honeycomb.
Yes.
The way that it kind of gets a little waxy on the palate.
Right.
Fly in my office, Jesus.
And what I love about this is like, I love a good whiskey that up front is just like, it tells you what it's all about, like up front, and this punches in that sense, and not necessarily the rye spice, but all those beautiful things we're just talking about, that honey and
the honey, and there's baking spice, and I really get in terms of spice, I get punched more with a little bit of cinnamon than I do pepper.
Okay.
I would typically get from a rye.
Yeah. And it blends really nicely. It's it's there, but it's not.
It's all like a medley of all the things.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's not one thing in particular more than another at a given time, which is nice.
Right.
Not a lot of whiskeys are like that, actually. So
yeah,
they do a good job of that.
Yeah, and this was a blend of 102 barrels.
102 barrels in this blend.
Yeah, so this was and there was let's see, they were distilled between like September of 2017 and June of 2018. So it's a good range.
Wow.
Yeah, good range there. Some of that stuff, as you can see,
picking 100 and something odd barrels.
Yeah.
I mean, do y'all do that in a day? Is it you have to like take a
Yep.
break and come back?
Yep. No, these guys here, they're great. They're great. They dump about 4 at a time. I would say they dump 4 every 5 minutes.
Okay.
So.
And so when you're doing a blend, how do you approach deciding like what you're looking for to put that blend together?
Sorry.
Taste batch one and then kind of approach it. Ooh, can you hear me? Okay, there we go. Do you taste batch one and then kind of approach it from just searching for that same kind of profile and seeing how you could put the pieces together to get that? Or are you looking to kind of separate a little bit?
Yeah, great question. I mean, for this, everything was very similar. So there wasn't a lot of blending involved. We didn't have enough barrels to blend, right?
Oh, okay.
So when you have something like this, you're just the barrels are all amazing, and they're consistent, which is huge because you see, various consistencies depending on so many factors. But like, yes, I mean, with what I'm doing today, which is for a future project, it's more of I sniff through everything and then I'm in my head I'm saying this is a top note, this is the middle note, this is a bass note, and I'm going to try these two together and I'm going to blend them with the top note as the majority of the formula. So it's kind of like a visualization thing for me. Like I really tap into my musical background, and I'm kind of almost envisioning like a chord and how I want that chord to be complete and harmonious and sound complete.
Yeah.
And balanced.
I love that approach. That's pretty cool. As an aspiring blender, I'm taking notes. So a top note, middle note, bass note. That's pretty cool. That's an approach. Okay, I like that. Great question from Frank, Mr. Burb Your Enthusiasm. He said, how is the whiskey in the Golden Rye batches 1 and 2?
I'm sorry. Can you ask again?
Yes. How old is the whiskey in the Golden Rye?
Yeah. So the barrels, the 102, were distilled between. They were just dumped, and they were distilled between September 2017 and June 2018. Okay. So 4 to 4 and 9 months ish. So just to give, I mean, sometimes it's fun to have those specifics. It's a 4-year-old product, but just see that range adds variety, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Another question he actually had. Thanks, Frank. You just have so many questions. What are you looking for with your first time blending for Blue Run? Oh, I like that. That's a good question.
What am I looking for? I'm looking for anything that I typically look for something that stands out a lot, a barrel, etc. That stands out, meaning like if I'm smelling them all side by side, this particular one has something different. Maybe you can put your finger on it, maybe you can't, and then you decide like, is that different note something that can kind of carry the profile through? And then I look for something complementary to that note that could be used as, I'm assuming a lot of times the unique notes that I find are more of the middle notes and top notes. So then I just find like a good bass note type bourbon or whiskey to blend in there as kind of the foundation to the base.
I like that.
To the blend. Yeah.
That's kind of a follow-up question. So with that being said, like when you're in terms of your personal likes when it comes to whiskey, do you draw more towards what goes towards the quintessential in terms of flavor profile, or do you like the things that kind of deviate from what you would expect, like from a bourbon or a rye? Do you kind of lean into those caramel vanilla notes, or do you like to taste things that kind of take us away from that?
I really love florals. Like, I love a good floral. Okay.
That's why I'm shocked you're not a gin girl.
I know. Well, it's that juniper. So that's the thing is like, it's just too much for me. Like,
I think you'd like some more westernized gins then.
Yeah. Well, we had a brand at Campari. It's escaping me. Bulldog gin.
I know Bulldog. Okay.
Bulldog. And I was always a bigger fan of that because I think I forget the classifications of gin, but it was, I guess, it was a little more subtle.
It wasn't a London Dry, probably.
Yes, yeah, right. Because the London Dry, when you say that, I can taste the juniper.
Yeah, London Dry is like pine cone.
Yes, yeah, like woo,
in your face.
Right. So I love a good floral. I love a good green note. So anything that's like effervescent and kind of just like it's there and gone. Like it's so volatile that as soon as you smell it initially, and it's gone. Because we all know if you let the glass sit out for 30 minutes, it changes, and you're left with the more caramel, the heavier molecules, the those notes, those brown notes, they're like actually physically heavier, and so they stay in your bourbon longer, and they stay in your mouth longer because they're heavier. So anything that like that, I'm not a huge fan of. Some people are into the whole like the defects, or like I hate musty, earthy, that. But to each his own.
Everybody's got their own palate. They got their own
Yes, they sure do.
But I feel you on that. I tend to, especially when we're doing like single barrel picks and stuff like that, for Seelbach, I like, because there's so much out there in the market already that you can get that's going to give you what you're expecting to get from a particular category.
Yeah.
I always am drawn to the barrels that are giving me something I would never have expected to taste.
Right.
I love heavy fruit. Like I've come across so many bourbons and ryes that lean almost into like wine level fruitiness in terms of like red fruits.
Yes.
And even like tropical fruit skin, stuff like that. And I love like that. So
yeah, because you're just like, you keep going back because you're just trying to figure it out. Yeah,
exactly. The ones where I'm like constantly like, what did I just say? What did I just taste? Like I'm typically picking those barrels. So
yeah,
yes, exactly, Frank. When it's giving unexpected, exactly. He knows me so well already. Oh, this is a good question. Also from Frank. What differences do you notice between batches 1 and 2, if any?
Honestly, I would have to get back to you on that. It's been a bit since I've tasted batch 1. But that's a wonderful question, and I'm gonna go home and do that tonight because now I'm extra curious.
Yes. Well, I'm going to be posting this on our IG, so feel free to comment once you have
awesome.
Once you have your notes. You're welcome to comment that answer. So I have one more question from him before I ask you a question that I think people are going to be very interested to find out the why about. So what are some future things you'd like to see for the future of Blue Rye? I'm getting accosted by a fly in here. Jesus. Sorry, y'all.
I like innovation that, of course, hasn't been done before. That might be a little cliche, but like that's where my mind is. Anything that drives that flavor change, I'm in flavors that you don't expect, flavors that you aren't as familiar with are very interesting to me. I would rather do fewer innovations, more long-term innovations than just like release, because like that's more true to me and like what I think the brand can be. So I'm working on a lot more like long-term innovations and things that I think will truly transform the flavor if you wait, right? It's like do you want 1 cookie now or 2 cookies later? I've always been a 2 cookies later type of girl. I think it's kind of gotten me to where I am. Sounds like you are too. Yeah.
Me too.
So I'm trying to do that with the bourbon, with the whiskey, and just be, patient and wait for these ideas to come to fruition. And you never know where you find the inspiration for good ideas. I mean, everyone has great ideas, and sometimes I'm like, okay, I want to try that.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. Oh wait, Blue, of course. Hey, Blake, Blue Run Private Blend with Seelbach sounds innovative. It absolutely does.
Okay.
I'm gonna second that notion.
Yeah, let's do it, Blake.
So I was gonna say, so go ahead and stick a post-it on that idea. And just, we'll circle back on that.
2029. No, I'm kidding.
That's
just kidding.
Wait. Oh wait.
That's 7 cookies later.
Now,
okay.
If we're blending up something that's has done some aging by then. I mean, hey, I'm a patient girl, so Seelbach won't be going anywhere anytime soon.
That's right.
So we'll definitely be here 2029, no doubt about it. Now, I heard through the grapevine, little birdie, aka Mike, said that this may be the last Golden Rye batch. This might be the last Golden Rye release.
Yeah. Yep.
So why? Y'all just moving on to something else, or?
Yeah, I mean, all good things must come to an end. I mean, it's like when the sitcom that you love goes out on a bang. Like they're not waiting until their ratings drop. Like they're like, we're gonna go out on top. I think there's a bit of that going on.
Okay.
And
Are you guys going to be focusing more on like bourbon as opposed to rye, or will there still be, there'll be your bourbon releases and there'll be your rye releases? It just won't necessarily be this particular expression of rye.
right, we'll still be doing so we are releasing another rye later this year.
Okay.
So and that's going to be we'll likely be releasing that every year going forward. And then we have our two flagships currently. Those could always change, but the High Rye and the Reflection bourbons.
Okay, so Reflection is considered a flagship.
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yes. It might be changing, and it's kind of confusing. There's a Roman numeral at the end of it, but like the idea will always remain the same. But there might be, I love, like, I'm coming in and I'm like, hey, can I play around with this, and can I change it a bit? So that might be happening. Okay. And then in between all these like expected releases, we're doing like small little, surprises and blends and different fun things. You'll see some repeats from the previous year, perhaps, and maybe some new stuff. So yeah. And the great thing about a small company is you can pivot quickly, right? So you can as I go through our inventory more and more ideas come, like we could pretty quickly turn around and drop a new product. So we're nimble in that regard.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Ooh, okay. So my last question, because I'm curious, do you guys already have an idea of what your like holiday releases are going to be looking like? Because we did a previous single barrel release with you guys almost 2 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And we had this 12 Days of Christmas single barrel release that was such a to-do.
Yes.
So now I'm curious, are you guys already working on, are y'all working on anything specifically catered to the holidays again, like we did 2021? Or
yes,
is it going to be kind of something else?
If I'm allowed to reveal, it will be a very similar approach.
Okay, similar approach. We'll take that. Okay.
Yes. And I might be working on that right now today as we speak. So, yeah.
Ooh, I love that. Well, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring for some samples when that's ready. All right,
samples
cool.
for
I'm excited about that. Oh, we have a question from Jack. Is the change happening because of the aging of the whiskey in different barrels or just marketing strategy? Oh, good question.
Sorry, what change?
I think the change... Now, Jack, are you referring to the change as in not releasing a Golden Rye Batch 3?
Or maybe
referring to
Reflection? Maybe.
I'll wait for him to get back to us on that one.
Of the aging of the whiskey in different barrels, or just marketing strategy. So if you're talking about Reflection, I'm just trying to come in and put my spin on things.
Yes.
Oh, the Golden Rye.
Golden Rye. Okay.
Is the aging of the whiskey? Oh, yeah. So I don't fully know. I don't make all the marketing decisions.
Yeah.
Right question. But yeah, I think the idea is to not flood. We don't have like as much of this liquid, obviously 102 barrels. But the idea is not to flood and put so much out there. Like I personally, if we do have any more, I would like to, use it in a different way. So,
I love it.
Never say never. I've worked long enough this industry to know, like, hey, we're not going to do this, and then it happens again. But it's very likely that we are planning on this being the last release, full stop.
Okay, cool. Well, for you people who don't manage to get your hands on it in 30 minutes, it is dropping at 3 o'clock. We do keep some back that we were preserving for a library release later on down the line. So if you're keeping up with Seelbach, you may catch it again during the library release. So Golden Rye Batch 1 and 2 at some point later in life will be available again. So I like that this is going to be the last release of that because it'll be even more coveted when it comes back out.
That's right.
Seelbach's vault. So, Dylan, I'm not going to hold you up because I know you're a busy girl, but thank you for getting on here with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It was fun.
Yes, I just said, can't wait till you're back in DC so we can do something else.
You're going to show me all the gin stuff. So
I absolutely am. So I got you covered. One of my best friends, she's a gin girl, so we'll go to her bar and she'll lay it out for us.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, my friend Capri, we do Soul Palette podcast together.
Capri, yeah, I met her. Yeah.
Oh yes. So yeah, Capri Robinson, that's my girl. And gin is her favorite. So
Hey.
And she's an allegory. So yeah, when you're here, we'll hit up allegory and go through the whole gamut of some non-Juniper forward gens and kind of try to bring you over to the dark side. So
Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
guys, so Golden Rye Batch 2 drops at 3 o'clock on Seelbach. And yeah, if you're part of our email group, you have all the information regarding that. If you have any questions, feel free to DM us or shoot us an email. And yeah, thanks for
Thanks
spending your
so
afternoon
much,
with us for
everybody.
30 minutes. And thank you,
Thanks,
Shaylin. I
Dee. Thanks,
appreciate it.
Seelbach.
Cheers,
Bye.
guys. Bye.